Guys, Akil Stokes here. Welcome back to another episode of the Trading Coach Podcast, coming your way every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on your favorite podcasting app. Thank you, as always, for taking a few minutes out of your day to join me. And of course, thanks for all of the support you guys have given. We're 400 plus episodes into the Trading Coach Podcast, and we are still ranked as one of the top Forex and trading podcasts out there. So you guys have not got bored, which is good because I can talk and many of the topics are going to be the same. Now, today's topic may or may not fall underneath that category. This is something that I've heard a lot about and I've responded to a lot throughout my trading career, but I'm not sure if I've done it on a podcast or not. And it has to do with coaching and why you coach and coaches being scammers. And I guess I'll give you guys some background. It started off with a video I put out, a quick tip video, which are, if you follow me on Twitter, I put out these little kind of 1-2 minute videos, just giving a little bit of a lesson about trading or business or entrepreneurship, whatever, just to kind of give you little smacks in the face of motivation throughout the day. And I put one out today that talked about, it talked about investing essentially. And this is going to come kind of full circle later when we talk about compounding. But it essentially said that, I started my trading journey back in 2007, right? And there was a period of time where I struggled. There was about a 2-year period of time where I struggled very, very, very hardly. And at the time, it seemed like that struggle was forever, right? Probably the longest 2 years of my life. And it was dreadful. It was depressing, all of the emotions that you can imagine. I felt like a failure. I felt like I would never get out of it. I experienced all of that day in and day out through that 2-year period. But I've also been successful for about 11 years now, probably a little bit more than that, but we'll call it 11 years now. And what's interesting is that in hindsight, those 2 years, which were the longest 2 years of my life, really don't seem like a lot of time. And what I was saying is that, when you're investing in yourself, you have to be aware of that. You have to be aware that the initial startup is going to feel like you're not accomplishing anything. But when you look back, years and years later, you can see that it wasn't a big deal. And when we go in to talk about compounding, and compounding is essentially the same thing if you guys are new. When you're compounding your money, it's basically you are growing your money. And as your money grows, it starts to produce more by the pure fact that you have more money. So think about the growth as being kind of like, trying to push a snowball down the hill, right? At first, you've got this snowball. It's very small. You're rolling up with snow. It takes you're doing a lot of work in the beginning. The hill's not really giving you any help. It feels like you're doing a lot of work and getting nothing out of it. However, eventually when that snowball gets big and it starts, gravity takes hold of it and it starts kind of rolling down that hill, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and faster and faster and faster. And you're not really doing anything at the time, right? You put a lot of effort in at the beginning to get that payoff at the end. And growing your account in trading is the same way, right? If you look at let's say a fixed percentage return, let's say you're someone that averages a 20% a year, right? Your first year, you start with a $100 account, right? And you make 20%, right? Whoop-de-doo, right? What did you make? You made $20, right? Not a big deal. Let's fast forward 10 years later. Maybe you've grown your account. Maybe you've got some cash from somewhere else, right? All of a sudden, right, you're still making that 20% because you're still trading the same way, but all of a sudden your 20% is now off of a $100,000 account. Well, it's the same percentage, it's the same work, but you've made more money because you've compounded it, right? Now, all of a sudden you've gone from $20 to $20,000, right? Percentage is the same, result is different, right? That's how money works. And I bring this up because the question said, Akil, or the comment, said, Akil, I don't trust trading coaches at all. Full of lies. If you are, and this is the one that we always used to get, if you are making money, then why are you coaching? And I can tell you what, I don't get offended by this. And the reason is I completely understand the type of industry that we are in. We are in a very shady industry, unfortunately. Now, it's not as shady as when I first got started, right? I first got into the market around 2007, Forex specifically around 2008. And this is when Forex was still rather new and I got suckered into, I don't want to say suckered in, but the main draw for me is because my friend said that I can make more money in a quicker amount of time with less capital, right? So basically I can get rich quick. And that kind of got me into trading. Now, I was fortunate enough not to get scammed. I didn't give anyone, well, I had the broker scam, that. But as far as like education scam, I didn't give any coach money or anything like that. But I completely understand why people have that perspective. And in fact, that's one of the reasons that I do what I do now, right? I struggled for that 2-year period mainly because I had the wrong expectations. I had an altered idea of what the reality of trading was, and I refused to accept the real reality. And because of that, I kept trying shortcuts and they kept failing, and I kept trying band-aids and they never would heal the wound. And it took me a long time to really accept that my approach was wrong and then go about fixing that approach. And then once I did, I became successful. A lot of hard work and all that stuff too, obviously. But the mindset was the major change. That paradigm shift that I made was the major change that allowed me to take the actions that I needed to take in order to become successful. But I'm trying to figure out where I'm going here. My kid is at the door, like making funny faces and whatnot. So I'm kind of knocked out of my OODA loop. But that's one of the reasons that when I decided to get into coaching after I managed money, I vowed that I want to present a realistic view of what trading is. There's everyone else that I knew was preaching the whole kind of get rich quick stuff. I didn't want to be that person. I wanted to, preach this is what success can bring you. You can have this and that, but this is what it's going to take. It's going to take a lot of hard work. It's going to take a lot of time. It's going to take a lot of sacrifice. It's going to be a strain on your relationships. It's going to be a strain on your account size. It's going to be a strain on your psyche. It's going to be a strain on your mental and physical health. And I was preaching those messages because that's what I believe people needed to hear. If you're going to make a life-altering decision, a life-changing decision, I think investing in your trading, it's not something you do as a hobby. If you want to go for it, you got to go all out, full bore, right? But you need to be prepared. You need to know what to expect. You need to have a realistic timeline. That way you can have realistic expectations. And as you can imagine, I got hammered for that as well. I got hammered for that. Oh, you're saying that, people can't do it. You're a Debbie Downer, all this fun stuff. But that's just been my consistent message since I've started. And you can go back and watch. I don't know when the first piece of public material that I put out was, but before I was coaching, I had a blog that basically told people how bad I was and how I could stop being bad. So it goes back to even that. And I think that's needed to push the people in the path to success. And, one of the reasons that I started coaching, and this is to address the question, right? If you're making money, why do you coach? The number one reason that I coach is to provide value, right? I'm a believer that you are judged in life by the impact that you have on others. And that impact can be in many ways, right? You could be someone that donates millions of dollars to cancer research, right? You're having a positive impact there. You could be a school teacher that gets underpaid, but you're changing people's lives and you're helping people that are, develop knowledge and the skill of education, and they can grow up and go on to help others, right? It doesn't matter how big or how small your impact is. I think we should all be driven by, being less selfish, not just about us, but having an impact. And that's how I am in trading. One of the reasons I stopped managing money is because I didn't feel like I was having an impact, right? I was helping people that already had a lot of money make money, and I was getting a good cut, right? So it helped me out. And at the time I needed it, right? I needed to make a business out of my trading because my account size wasn't big enough to do it myself. But part of me felt empty. Part of me felt like I didn't have a purpose, or I wasn't fulfilling that purpose. So when I got into education, and trust me, I had to have my leg pulled to get into education because I had zero interest in doing it. But what I learned over the time as I got more comfortable with it, and as I started working with more and more people, and more specifically, once I started seeing more and more people have results, I started realizing that, man, I'm making a massive impact. And it's not just for the people that I'm working with closely, but the people that consume my content, on the internet, right here, the Trading Coach podcast, the YouTube videos, the quick tip videos, whatever it may be. I'm having a positive impact on people. And the more messages that came in where it's like, hey, Akil, I changed my life, or Akil, I just went pro, or Akil, I started a hedge fund, right? Those provide value. And hopefully it's kind of the pay it forward type of deal where, they see the impact that I've had on them and they want to do the same thing for someone else. Because again, I wouldn't be wanting to have this impact, or I wouldn't be where I'm at right now if I didn't have a mentor. right? There was someone that came in and I paid them for coaching, but they invested in me and I changed my life dramatically because of the skill that I learned, right? So my life is, if you got to kind of do that whole 1% change thing, right? Imagine yourself, imagine your direction in life being a straight line forward, right? And if you just slightly look right, and move or shift 1%, and then walk, thousands of miles, you'll be in a completely different space, right? That's where I'm at right now. That small change put me in a completely different place than where I was headed. So value is a big part of that. That's kind of the self-fulfillment. But there's another part of it, right? And it's the money, right? Now you'll hear people say all the time, "Oh, I don't do it for the money." I do it for the money. Now, would I do it for free? Yeah, for an extent. And how do I know that? Well, because look at my content on YouTube. I got over 600 videos on YouTube, 400 episodes of the Trading Coach podcast. We do free workshops multiple times a year. We're answering questions from any and everyone that asks us online. Yeah, I would do it for free. Well, I wouldn't invest as much time. I wouldn't do a live trading room every day. I wouldn't be answering emails for whatever hours a day. I wouldn't be working with clients closely and helping, reviewing their trading plan, looking at their backtesting results. I wouldn't be doing all of that for no money, right? I'd be out enjoying life. But that's the business side of it. But the point is, it's a business. The point is, it's to make money. And the more money you can make, the better, right? And why is that? Well, because the more money you can make, that allows you to compound your money even quicker. Think about it like this. If you are someone that is living full-time off of your trading, I always say it takes about $200,000 to live full-time off your trading, right? If you take, and again, this is gonna vary depending on where you're at, right? If you're living in New York City versus if you're living maybe somewhere in a small shack somewhere, it's going to be a different type of deal. But let's say, let's say $200,000 live off your trading. Let's say you're making 30% a year, right? You're making a decent return, nothing too spectacular, but pretty good, right? You're outperforming the stock market and whatnot. You're making 30% a year, right? That's going to be a $60,000 check. You've made $60,000 for a year. Now, ask yourself right now, can you live off of $60,000? Many of you are saying, well, yeah, okay, let's not forget taxes, right? And let's not forget money that needs to be rolled back into your account in order to continue to grow, right? So you can make it to the next level and to manage during drawdown. So all of a sudden, that $60,000 a year looks more like $30,000, $40,000, right? All of a sudden, that may not be enough for you to live off of, especially if you're someone that has a family and kids are going to school and you've got a car note and a mortgage, right? So if you can use that skill of trading and turn it into a business, right? All of a sudden, you can start producing an alternative, right? An alternative income, a supplemental form of income, right? And what that supplemental form of income allows you to do is it allows you to keep more of the money that you're making from trading. It allows you to put it back into the account, right? If you can put it back into the account and you're consistent with your return, all of a sudden, year after year, you're not just making a 30% return off of $200,000, meaning you would be stuck at $60,000 every single year. But now, right, all of a sudden that account is growing, right? That account you go from $200,000 to a $260,000 account because you don't need to put stuff back into it. Next year, that $260,000 goes to $350,000, right? And now you're creating the same return, right? That 30%, I think it was I said, but you're doing it with a larger sum of money, which means you're making more actual profit, which means you're growing your money quicker. And it's just like the snowball I talked about earlier. The bigger that snowball grows, the more momentum it builds. It keeps doing more and more and more without you needing to do more, right? So one of the reasons that I can't speak for every coach out there, but I can speak for myself, it is a supplemental income. I can tell you this as well, right? Trading is very similar. Your trading income, or at least my trading income, right? It's very similar to trying to think of a job comparison. Or before we even get into that, right? Think about it like this, right? And one of the comparisons I use of if you're making money, why are you coaching? Going back to just the kind of supplemental income. Let's take a professional athlete, right? Professional soccer player, professional basketball player. Why would a professional basketball player do a Nike commercial? Can you guys answer that? Because it allows them to make money, right? It allows them to make money, which now they can keep more of their contract. I forgot who it was. I think it was Saquon Barkley, the running back for the New York Giants. With his endorsement deals, he didn't have to spend a dime of his actual NFL contract. And what he did is saved it in case there's ever a serious injury, or maybe he just he turns bad, he can't be in the NFL. Now he's able to save that money, invest that money, and he's able to keep it later instead of burning through all of it. But going back through kind of the business aspect of it, right? The skill of trading can be used for many things, right? It doesn't have to be coaching. It could be for managing money. It could be for starting a signal service, right? Coaching is just the one that typically gets the kind of the bad rep. But the point of having a skill, or the point of trading in general, is it's a wealth accelerator, right? The whole key in life is to accelerate your wealth, right? The whole key in life, in my opinion, is freedom, right? Freedom. Freedom means you have the ability to do whatever you want, whenever you want. You are in complete control of your time. How do you become in complete control of your time? Well, typically that stems from financial freedom. Once you are financially free, you no longer have to invest the same amount of time into work, which is making money, which now you can take that time that was once used for work and now use it to do whatever you want. So the goal to get to full freedom of time, is to first achieve financial freedom and then find a way that you can take financial freedom and limit the amount of work hours, right? That's how you get there. So the question becomes, how do I achieve financial freedom? And you achieve financial freedom by putting yourself in a position where your investments are creating a high enough return that it will pay for your cost of living, right? If you have enough in your investment account, or whatever your different investments are, that by simply the return on investment, right, the ROI will create enough income for you to pay for your car, pay for your mortgages, pay for your trips, this and that. Now you no longer have to do work to get that. You're no longer, I'm trying to think of a kind of a way to say it. You're no longer kind of like on a treadmill, where it's the difference between rich and wealthy, right? Wealth is measured in time, right? How much can you live or get by without, doing anything? Rich means you make a lot of money, but you're working so hard to make that money. And the moment you stop working, guess what? You start making less, or that money doesn't come in. So if you can accelerate your wealth, if you can accelerate your path to getting your investments in the position where your all of your lifestyle can be paid for by your investment returns, right? That is the goal. So the question is, how can I accelerate my wealth? Well, trading is a wealth accelerator. Investing in general is a wealth accelerator, whether it's real estate or, again, the stock market, the Forex market, or you're investing in a specific business. So how can I increase that capital as much as possible? By having as many income streams as possible, whether it's different categories, whether it's trading, whether it's a side job, whether it's you're selling stuff on eBay, or whether you're doing it all under the trading umbrella, but you're doing different things where you're trading for yourself. You're also running a coaching service. You're also writing a book and selling it. You're also doing a signal service, whatever it may be. The more streams of income you have, right, the faster you're going to accelerate your wealth. The faster you can accelerate your wealth, the faster you get to financial freedom. The faster you get to financial freedom, the faster you get to freedom of time, right? Do you see how it works now? Have I changed your mind?